Today is all about broadening our horizons and really expanding our vision. It's about challenging some things that may be in our status quo. It's about understanding our strengths and identifying areas where we might want to make some changes.
I have the honor of introducing an accomplished executive, Jennifer Murphy, who is currently the Chief Administrative Officer at Legg Mason.
Women face a lot of headwinds in reaching executive ranks or in reaching leadership roles, and that's true. But there's also some evidence that we're overcoming those things. Much of the best work that I've done in my career, and maybe most of the best work I've done in my career, has been work that I have assigned myself. And my boss told me that he was sort of talking to someone else about me, and he relayed this conversation to me, and he said in that conversation, and I was again 22 or 23 years old at the time, he said she could be the CEO of Legg Mason someday, and he was sort of relating to me that he had said this. And that had such a big impact on me. One of the earliest books, I'm serious, this is actually true, that made a big impact on me was called Zen and the Art of Archery. To hit the target, you can't aim at it. You know, it's all about preparation. And it's the essence of the book is once the arrow leaves you, there's nothing you can do. All you can do is prepare, prepare, prepare. So really think about the process of what you're doing. The outcome, you know, you really have to leave to the gods. And that did make an impact on me, and it sort of got me off trying to look ahead 20 years and think about what am I trying to do, or I would think about just do the right things right now.
You know, again, I'd give the advice to anybody, but it's probably more true than for women, which is, you know, ask for the big assignment or the big job. I mean, one is, I can just be very candid, in 20 years, I mean, the truth is the number of men who come to me asking for big, grandiose things is a 20x that of women.
So I remember when Libby and I were presenting to the executive committee talking about our women in leadership and you know, the focus that we were having, David almost immediately said, you know, I really would like for you to include men. And the reason I would like for you to include men is because this awareness that David was just talking about can't be created, you know, in an us versus them.
You need to realize it's not about you. Once you get beyond that, oh, what are they thinking about me, you can be far more focused, laser focused on the issue and the business issue that you're trying to deal with. So I think my urging to all the women who are listening and in the room, and whether they're very experienced or relatively junior in their careers, is get to that point sooner rather than later, and then you break free.
There's a lot of articles lately about how women see themselves as needing to fulfill 100% of the requirements of a job before they would apply, whereas men think if they're at 40%, you know, they're fine, that kind of thing. So I think that kind of speaks to what you're, what you're talking about. There's also, I think, a pretty striking streak, I think, of differences in risk aversion. And that's a little bit what you're saying as well, whereas I think maybe in men with the opportunity to have an audience with David and pitch an idea are maybe a little more risk-seeking, and women maybe a little less risk-seeking or more risk-averse.
If just the nature of not challenging men hiring men versus men hiring women, and we haven't really challenged that as a theory, and we haven't really opened our minds to it, then there's bias in the system. And I don't like bias, because bias isn't equal opportunity, okay? And then equal opportunity doesn't create equal outcomes. So this is an equal opportunity first mentality is sort of the way I think we're, you know, that's the way it's landing on me. And I think to have both Jean and Libby and others, you know, very engaged in that dialogue is super productive for us.